I think Patrick has played better than his stats show, but has not been peak Mahomes in either of these games.
It's funny because it seems like none of that applies to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts on the flip side of that he plays better than what his stats shows, and he just wins the game by any means necessary. But that leeway doesn't get extended to Jalen Hurts because of his aesthetics, and that's what I think Nick Wright bases his scouting on Jalen Hurts.
On what all of us have known for 4 years. Not only is the tush push an ugly play,
And here we go.
they jump on it every damn time.
I think that's an overstatement.
When they don't jump on it, it's not quite as effective. And when they do jump on it, it's unstoppable.
I would have said, where was this complaint in the Super Bowl when they scored their first touchdown? Because you didn't mention this then or the previous times when the Eagles were successful with it. But you want to complain about it now because it's highlighted in this magnitude of a game in week 2, and Tom Brady said something about it. But completely ignore that the fact that Kansas City was lined up in the neutral zone half of the time when the Eagles were doing that play. It's funny how he just leaves that part out.
And yesterday's game will be known as the day the tush push died. So listen, rest in peace, tush push. You've had a hell of a run, and you're going to be allowed to continue the rest of the year.
You mad, bro?
The play you go to on 4th and short, 4th downs that you would never otherwise do, a false start absolutely kneecaps you.
Instead of worrying about a specific penalty on that play, here's how you stop the tush push if you don't want to deal with it. Win 1st and 2nd down against the Eagles. That's what you have to do because them getting 4 or 5 yards just puts that play on the table. So if you're the other team, limit them on 1st and 2nd down. You got to win those battles instead of worrying about what the referees are going to do on that play.
Show you 2 tush pushes with obvious false starts, and I'll show you one without one, and you see if you can tell me the difference between them. What you'll see is, Dust, if we can run it, please. The first one is the one Brady was furious about.
This is the art of being completely disingenuous by Nick Wright. So he's going to show 2 plays as an example of the Eagles getting away with this. But until this game, why didn't you mention this before they even played the Chiefs? You should have had film and point this out and be like, this is what Kansas City needs to focus on because these guys get a jump when they do this play. But it's only magnified after he sees this play, and now he wants to be disingenuous. Like, look, when they got away with it, when they jump off sides. Just completely disingenuous take by Nick Wright.
And you got no shot. You at least have a puncher's chance if it's officiated correctly, and the Eagles have been living on the fact that they don't get called for that ever.
They never get called on it ever because this is the first time you want to mention this, and now you want to use this as a reference point to say they get away with this all the time. Out of all the film that's been out there, you should have seen this before you even got to this game. But again, this is a disingenuous take because he wants to make it seem like they got away with one. This is grasping at straws. But again, if you want to stop the Eagles from doing this, you have to win on 1st and 2nd down so you can eliminate this whole process.
I'm sorry, the guys didn't jump, to me, was a signal. They knew, okay, for this game, the refs might be looking for it. So I think that's noteworthy.
When you solely rely on mental gymnastics to always trying to explain everything away that you can't explain with just common sense, logic, this is the disingenuous nonsense that Nick Wright does. So I'm going to show you guys something, and let's see if we can peep out the nonsense that this guy's saying.
Hurts on the sneak. Pyle drives his way in. Touchdown.
Again, where was this complaint in the Super Bowl? And it's funny how you ignore how your Kansas City Chiefs is literally lined up in the neutral zone, but you're going to complain about the Eagles getting an early jump. Unreal.
I agree. Yesterday they were jumping, but to say that that's really the reason it's been effective over the last few years, I mean, I would have to see.
Well,
look at it
what
more.
is
Like, I don't think
definitively
that's
true.
Nick Wright is really trying to sell you this nonsense because he can't give you a logical explanation on why they're getting away with this so many times because it hasn't been a thing. That's why the way Chris Broussard reacted is the same way I would have reacted, and the same question I would have asked him. Where was this prior to this? Where was your evidence prior to this? Because you didn't complain about this at all. You just said it's an ugly play. In the players' meeting in the off seasons, they talk about the safety of it. Nobody talked about them cheating or getting away with a certain aspect by lining up too close. He's just grasping at straws at this point.
Is the way they line up is against the rules. The center, like the center's
Like
head,
all the time?
every time the center's head is in front of the ball.
I don't believe you.
More
That's the
attention
point
to
I'm making.
The letter of
the
the
same
law.
thing with the Jawan Taylor. Like a bunch of tackles start
Line
a
up with-
tick
right.
early.
See, Nick Wright is trying to find some type of way to correlate how offensive linemen get a bit of an advantage by slightly lining up different. Lane Johnson isn't just an expert at getting his leg back just before the snap by a tick. But that just comes with repetition and knowing your quarterback's cadence. You're working within the rules, but you're just bending it a little bit. What the Eagles are doing with the tush push, they're just limiting the difficulty. Instead of giving it back to your running back that's further away from it, why not just have your quarterback run the quarterback sneak? That's the closest to it. It's just common sense. If you want to stop it, I'm going to say it again. Limit the amount of chances the Eagles have to do it. You have to win first and second down. You got to get negative plays or limit them from getting into a situation where it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1. You don't want them getting 4 or 5 yards on first down, which gives them all the advantage to always have that play, which it's basically like playing with an extra down. But again, Nick Wright did all this mental gymnastics to try to justify this play. It's almost they're getting away with cheating the way they beat the Colts. None of this was mentioned prior to any of the opponents that the Eagles was playing until this happened. It's funny how Nick Wright brings that up. But I want to get your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think of Nick Wright's mental gymnastics for his Chiefs losing and can't stop the most unstoppable play in the NFL. I'll catch y'all next time.
Let's get it back. We're going to run some clock, or maybe throw the dagger. Hurts going deep for it all.